What's up, what's up, what's up, you beautiful and sexy you? You are tuned in to Get What You Want with host Jessica Brothers. Sharing these secrets to feeling powerful, healthy, and ageless so you can stop that cycle you're in and break free to live the incredible quality of life you deserve. Welcome to the Get What You Want podcast, the Hack Your Health series with host Jessica Brothers and Dr. Michelle Lynn.
Hi, everyone. Just a quick disclaimer. This is for education purposes only. This is not a medical advice, so please see your doctor before you implement anything that we talk about.
Thank you. Enjoy the show. What's up, what's up, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Get What You Want podcast. This is your Hack Your Health series with your hosts, Jessica Brothers and Dr. Michelle Lynn, one of my true friends here. Absolutely adore her. So welcome back, dear.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
It's been a good amount of time away, so I'm very excited about this.
Yes. To be transparent, I've been traveling a lot, which has been great. Michelle has opened up her med spa, which is really fantastic as well. And here we are, coming back to a highly needed podcast episode, because not only was I craving to talk with her, but she was getting a lot of requests, like, when's your next one?
Yeah, I'm so excited to be able to speak to everybody again and give you my thoughts. Thank you so much for your feedback.
Yes. So today is going to be a little different in the fact of our topic. Maybe this topic would be considered, I don't know, taboo, woo-woo. I don't even know. But the reality is, in all of my traveling, I would say a good 90% of the people I was meeting, when they were asking me what I do, of course, I would start talking about human biology and health. I would get a little bit spiritual, and I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about relationship with self. The similar pile of questions would always come on. Do you think that our spirituality has anything to do with our health?
Oh, hugely. And it's, what happens with our brains. It's interesting. Our brains, we have a part of our brain that is made for spirituality, whether we believe that God put that into us to be able to connect with a higher power, or if it's just something that's evolutionary and maybe helps with social interactions. We don't know, not scientifically, but we know it's there. And in us individually, we have a different relationship with that part.
Interesting. So when you say we have a part of our brain, can we actually locate it, or do we just know it's there?
I believe scientists have located it. They've done research and did MRIs, functional MRIs that can see parts of the brain light up when they bring up certain topics. And so I don't know the exact part of the brain, but I know experiments like that have been done, and we know it exists.
So I have a question. Maybe you know the answer to this, maybe you don't. But I've had a lot of conversations around the pineal gland. Do you know anything about the pineal gland? Or if you do, what do you know about it?
I think there's very little that we know. We think it regulates a little bit of sleep, some of the hormones, melatonin. Maybe it plays a part in seizures, but so my knowledge, my neurology knowledge isn't very strong. But yeah, I would say overall, from what I've been taught about it, it seems very limited.
Yeah. And I too have been gotten that similar answer from people, or even from doing some sort of research in the scientific world. There's not a ton of documentation or things talking about really mainly the spiritual side of the pineal gland, because whether this is true or not, I don't think everyone believes this, because not everyone believes everything, the same thing, right? We all have our own opinions and judgments. That a lot of people think that our third eye, our spiritual self, lays in that pineal gland. However, from what I've learned, our spiritual self is not in one particular area. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's flowing through us. It's flowing around us. It's flowing between us into everything, into this computer, into this microphone. It's all just constantly flowing.
Right.
Just like a radio wave,
Mm-hmm.
just like a cell phone wave.
Mm-hmm.
They're all waves of some sort of frequency.
Yep.
And this is why I say this. And going back to the very basics of what I've learned in science, is the simplest form of everything, that anything on this planet is made of, is an atom. Okay. The atom contains three things. It's a proton, a neutron, and an electron. The proton and neutrons are in the nucleus, in the center of the atom. Okay. Usually if there's three protons, there's three neutrons, which means the electrons spin at a rapid rate, and usually three outside of it. And the electrons are much smaller. And having the same amount of protons, neutrons, electrons creates a very neutral atom. It's neutral. There's no charge of positive or negative to it at all. And you can't split an atom. Okay, let me rephrase that. You can, but if you did, they're not really meant to be split like molecules or things that break down. It is the smallest form. If you did split an atom of something, it would no longer behave like that thing, because you're breaking down the base of it. Now, science shows that in order for that atom to become charged, positive or negative, or to become something, you introduce environment to it, an energy source to it, to change and shift the sharing, the transferring of electrons, or protons, or, to combine, which give it, more of a physicality with a charge to it. Am I speaking this correctly? I believe.
Yes.
It's been a while. Okay. So my point is, in science, the atom exists. In spirit, the energy exists. So if that science needs, or that atom needs that energy, that means the physical needs the spiritual to be one. Mm-hmm. And that is why I say that it's not in one particular part of our body. This is what I believe. This is truly my belief. Maybe some of you agree, maybe some of you don't. It's perfectly fine. I just want to say that this is my current belief. Things always change. But if the energy is flowing around atoms, to atoms, through atoms, based on environment, that means if we are a compound of atoms and molecules, and everything in our world is, that means the energy is constantly flowing, and it's not in one area of our body.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I feel like the easiest equation to look at is E equals mc squared. Okay. Everybody knows what that is, right? It's energy coming from mass. Yes. Right? So we need material in order to produce mass. I'm sorry, in order to produce, well, not just mass, but also energy. And then, for the people that are already interested in this, you'll know about the quarks and neurons, muons and gluons. So we're talking about more of the quantum stuff that's out there. And it has shown to behave in ways that are beyond what mass does, beyond what the atom does. And so we're going into this metaphysical quantum field where the possibilities are very much like a spiritual environment. And it has real manifestations. So it's good to delve into this too. It's healthy to be able to do these mental experiments and to be curious and to look at relationships, because no one thing, whether it's energy-based, whether it's thoughts, whether it's, physical, it's all based off of energy and related and interrelated to you as a person and affects your health. Yes. Yeah. I love that. I love the word quantum too, because that's like a buzzword when people start diving into, kind of understanding more about what we're talking about. Quantum comes up a lot. And it's a lot to wrap your head around too. When you talk about quantum time and quantum space and quantum physics, quantum, it's a lot to wrap your head around, but it's a path that I feel people are headed towards. They're more open to
listening or learning about, because it's giving us improvements on not only our health, but living our best life.
Yes.
You talk about manifestations. You know, that was such a woo-woo word for so long. Now people are really starting to talk about it because they're realizing, I mean, this is something I realized a long time ago, and I've come to a realization of learning a lot more about it. It's a law, just like the law of gravity. It never turns off. So the law of attraction or manifestation, I'm going to say attraction because in science, actually ions or like ionization will actually, in their definition of talking about what an ion is or ionization, talks about law of attraction.
Yes.
It's in science books. It's how this cup right here becomes physical. Molecules attracted through energy. That is a law of attraction. In a sense, if you go into the science books, that's the simplicity of it. It's how everything is held together through that attraction. And that is how the molecules seemingly become a physical. Because if we were to put this under a microscope, we would see a bunch of little things kind of like just moving around.
Right. It's mostly space.
Yes.
Everybody is made of more space than they are things.
Yes.
So yeah, it's brought together by different charges. We're attracted to different charges. What that means in our human form is that our brains actually will adjust without us knowing to look for things that we have a desire for.
Yes.
So, you know, the simplest thing is like, oh, if you're driving around and you need coffee, guess what your eyes and your brain are going to hone into?
Yes.
All the different Starbucks, coffee shops that are around.
Drooling.
Yeah. And you're going to find one. So that's our brains are very, very interesting in their structure and the way they function. They're very mysterious, just like our spiritual world.
Yeah, that's I absolutely love that because it's so true. And that's something that people use every day in their life that they can relate to. Like if they are looking for coffee, now they're gonna be like, wow, it does happen. Or just like I hear this one a lot. As soon as you buy a new car, you start seeing that car everywhere. But you've never seen it before. It's not that you didn't, you just weren't honed in on it. Your brain wasn't looking for it, you know? And this goes back to so many personal development books. What you focus on grows.
Yes. What
you focus on grows, and your brain will turn that on. And if you're thinking about it and you're looking, it's coming out into your world. You are attracting it. You are focusing in on it. You are, there's a better way to say that. It's just not coming to me right now, but yes, you are seeking it. Yeah. You are seeking, you are manifesting.
You're making it a reality in your life.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So the next question I want to talk about is our health. I have some really good news. Maybe you've heard this. I don't think I've shared this with anyone outside of my inner circle. The good news is I am 100% completely healed.
Yay!
It's been like, what, 7 years where I was first got so sick every 3 weeks on the dot, 104 fevers, looked like I was 9 months pregnant, nausea, bedridden for up to 10 days at a time, couldn't even lift my head off the pillow. Even when I was standing up, like I felt like I wasn't here. I had major brain fog. I couldn't even focus. My husband at the time would say words to me and I couldn't even process what he was saying. It didn't even make sense to me. I could barely even eat food. It was so, and it just came on all of a sudden. It's never all of a sudden. It seemed like it was all of a sudden. My body had just hit a threshold. Come to find out I was eating listeria for months. So that weakened my entire immune system. So whatever was in my body was like, yay, it's playtime. And I developed a severe autoimmune to food, to a lot of things. And truth be told, I visited many specialists and medical doctors, and the spectrum was, you are fine. I was doing blood work every single Saturday to the point where the nurses knew me. Hey, Jessica, you're back. We hope we find it this time. I was going for weeks and the doctors say, everything's normal. Everything's normal. But I was clearly not normal. I was tracking 3 weeks on the dot. And then finally, one day, a doctor told me, oh, we need to give you a liver transplant. I was like, no, this isn't happening. I'm healthy. You know, I work out every day. I take care of my body. I eat pretty healthy. There's no way that I need a liver transplant. I said, well, what's that look like? He said, well, when you get sicker, we just move you up on the list. I'm like, sicker? My husband had to carry me into the hospital here. How much sicker can I get? And I was not having it, just was not having it. I said, you know what? I know enough about health where I fully believe I can heal this. I just think I need to go natural. I need to go natural. I need to learn more about that and understand the body even more. And that's what really got me to dive super deep into my education of human biology and really understand the body to heal myself. It was, my son was a year old. He knew me as always being sick at a year old, probably didn't remember, but I felt that way. That was the guilt. And yeah, I just started my healing journey. And 7 years later, I am healed, 100% healed. Now, I will say, you've helped me a lot with my dumps.
I'm just happy to play a role in it. And I think a lot of it is you. Like, I see myself as support.
Yes. Okay.
Support.
She was a great support. So every 2 weeks, I would go and get dumped by her. It was my lymph nodes. She would take the cups almost and turn them over. It's the easy way to say it, and dump them into my body to metabolize and excrete. Yeah. Pretty much, right? Yep. And you would check certain points on my body. And there was one valve that would always, you said, was rubbery.
Yeah, there's Chapman points and there are also ganglion. And these are neural bundles that come together, almost like if you think about it, it's related to acupuncture points. So where the energy converges and can't pass through, we have it. We really just massage the area, and things just start to untangle and go in the directions they're supposed to go.
So you used the word energy.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like there was stuck energy and things weren't flowing.
Yeah. Yeah. And the DO community will not use those words.
Of course not.
But they're trying to explain it with science, and they don't have a good way to explain it. They don't have a good way to do experiments. The experiment is, this is broken, now it works. That's really all we could, show in the scientific community, because science is limited. Like it's limited in its language, and it's limited in its protocols. So when I speak to my patients about what's happening, or I try to explain to students, like, energy doesn't have to be very woo-woo. It is really about charges. So when you think about what we are as human beings, we're mostly water. So yeah, if you decide to touch a socket and I decide to touch you, we will both get shocked. And that's the kind of influence that we have, is a healer uses their electrical energy to influence what's in the patient's body.
Yes.
And we could even go right through anatomy too. If I focus my concentration from the front of the body to get to the back of the body to my other hand, I can do it. And I have felt things move and open up, and patients have gotten off the table and felt better, because I'm able to transfer my energy, my electrical charges, right through the human body, and to open joints up, to get blood flow better, to turn off bad nerve signals.
I love that. I absolutely love that. The fact that we have a doctor right here talking about energy, healing the body, is a beautiful thing. And I appreciate you so much for that, because there's not many people in the medical world. Your world, of course, you are much different. And that's why we love you so much, especially me. She's mine. No, I share. talking about this because it's very true. And the whole point of me telling everyone that I am now 100% healed, 2 points. The fact that I believe everything can be healed. I mean, I was told my autoimmune would never be healed. Well, I'm healed. And this is the second point I want to make. I did all the physical stuff. I did the eating. You know how disciplined I've been on my eating for 7 years straight. And I'm not going to turn that off. I mean, it's now just part of me. I'm mainly a vegan. I eat, the other day I had some egg. The day before that, or a week before that, I had some salmon. I'm going to be real. I'm not a complete vegan, but I notice my body really does best mainly off of clean vegetables. I love it. I absolutely love it. But okay, let's get back. I was doing all the physical stuff right. I was eating super disciplined. All the foods that were non-inflammatory, clean, non-processed, no gluten, no dairy, no grains. No beans. I was eating literally clean sources of protein and vegetables and some sweet potato and maybe some like plantains and corn. And because I would muscle test myself. So I was doing all that right. I was working out 7 days a week, not to the point of exhaustion, but to the point where I felt good. So it was healthy working out. I was doing personal development. So thinking really good, you know, and I was getting my lymph nodes dumped. I was excreting toxins. I was doing all the things that would help align my body to help it heal. But there were bits of me that weren't all healed. And I'm like, why is this? Why am I for 6 years doing all this stuff? And I feel like the last bits is like getting that last 5 pounds off.
Yeah.
It's just sticking there. Like, what is it? And then I realized it was more of a spirituality, meaning, here we go. I had stored energy in my cells that was keeping me sick. Beliefs that I still had an autoimmune. Once I cleared that not only out of my thoughts, but also out of my cells, my body healed. And this is what I mean. I would go to restaurants. Oh, I have a dairy and gluten allergy. I would keep saying that. That was my story. So that was my belief. Oh, as long as I keep saying I have an allergy, I'm going to keep having that allergy. Now, I know some people are like, that's just crazy. But words are vibration. We know that they're vibration. We can, if I couldn't hear, maybe I can still pick up on vibration, just not hear the sound, because our ears are translators of vibration that emit the sound. That makes sense. Yeah. But words are vibration, and if vibration determines the health of our body, and we could break that down, then words absolutely determine parts of our health as well.
Yeah. Yeah, your words create beliefs. Your beliefs create different chemicals in your brain. So this is where the thought of being triggered, right? We know things in the negative. So when you're triggered, you have an increased release of epinephrine and adrenaline and cortisol because it's stressing you out because of words that were communicated. So words, the phonetic of words is very interesting. You'll hear people that speak multiple languages say, this is like whatever, and they use their own native tongue to explain, and they're like, it makes sense. There's no word in this other language that means this, but there is a whole internal feeling to some words, and it's a real thing. Like sound, we know sound has vibration. Different sounds have different qualities of vibration. You know, why a child knows their mother's voice, all of that is important, and we don't ignore that.
Yeah, absolutely. Both our words and our thoughts create vibration, which emits a feeling in us. When you say a word, it is a feeling, and when you have a thought, you have a feeling. There is a not only biochemical reaction, but there's a physiological reaction too. Because if you say a certain word like shit, Like, did you see my physical? You can't just be like, shit. I mean, you can, but I mean,
Yeah.
different feeling is emitted the way you say the word. And the same with a thought. If you think of something sad, your body's going to start going into like a sad, physiological state. Whereas you're happy, your body's going to go into that kind of physiological state. So they all work one and the same, and that creates, our electromagnetic field. And that field, creates a positive or a negative charge, really. And if we're atoms and we have a positive or a negative charge, and if you start going to frequencies, you understand that affects the health of our cells or what our cells will store, because they have memory in a way too. Right?
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's go back to the point about you and your beliefs about yourself.
Okay.
So your beliefs drove reactions in your own body. Like you couldn't
Yes.
even move. I remember
Yes.
that you've had, even if a bread touched the plate,
Oh my gosh.
anything left over, you would have a flare.
Yes.
So thought experiments are very powerful. So in order for you to understand that, let's try something with the audience. So for you, pick a food that you absolutely hate eating, whether that be broccoli, whether it's usually vegetables. People hate eating vegetables.
I love them.
I know, it's so sad. So pick a vegetable you do not like to eat. And for the next few weeks, several times you tell yourself, I really love broccoli. I love broccoli. When you get a chance, go on YouTube and look for broccoli recipes and just watch all that food porn and be like, oh, I really like that. That's pretty. Even if you don't, say that to yourself. And, then go ahead and try eating broccoli. So you have to try to believe your thoughts. If you believe your thoughts, all of a sudden broccoli tastes really, really good.
I love that.
Yeah. So do that thought experiment, but you have to be fully in it. You can't be saying the words and then in the back of your mind, like, oh, I still gonna hate broccoli.
Yeah. Yes.
And, reprogram yourself and, just do those little thought experiments and you could reprogram yourself and your image of your health to really eliminate the things that you are doing to poison yourself. Yes, some of these are very real. Some allergies are very real and there's no way around it, but some of them are self-made.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that experiment. It just goes to showcase the power of thought, but belief too, because you're right. You can't just go around pretending, oh, I love broccoli. That's not all in. You're either all in or you're not. If your belief doesn't match your action, if those are not aligned, it's not going to happen. They have to align. Your action of pretending to eat the broccoli, saying you love it, watching all the broccoli recipes, and just really just enjoying broccoli, even though it's not in your mouth yet, and creating that pathway or in that belief when you go to eat the broccoli. Absolutely. I wholeheartedly believe that. I mean, how else would we change our taste buds throughout our life? I mean, there was one point where I hated salmon. Now I love salmon. And you know what it was? I hated salmon up until the point that when my son was born, and one of the first solid food he'd had was salmon. He loved, still does to this day, loves salmon. And all of a sudden I started loving it, right? Because I saw him, how much he enjoyed it. And I'm like, oh, I love it too. Because, I wanted to enjoy something with him. Now I love salmon.
Yeah, it's powerful.
So that is absolutely phenomenal. I hope you all got something, at least one thing. I'm sure you got a lot out of today's discussion. We did some pretty good stuff. We just touched the base of a lot of different concepts here about spirit and science. And I used to say that they were one and the same. Now I understand it as they are opposite ends of the same spectrum, kind of dancing together. You can't have one without the other. You just can't. Like, you can't have a front of a coin without the back of a coin. How else would you know what the front is? Because this is something that Deepak
Chopra.
Yeah, okay, I was right. All right. It wasn't sounding right. Deepak Chopra said, no, now it escaped me. Oh, where there is a thought, there is a molecule. And where there is a molecule, there is a thought. And I'll never forget that when I read his book, I don't even know how many years ago. And that statement right there truly got me on the path of really looking for spirituality inside science. And I will say 100%, I am a true believer that you cannot have one without the other. They work in unison, in harmony to create our world. And so my final point about me being healed is, once I realized that I was doing all the physical, I then realized I had to do all the spiritual too, to create my optimal health.
Yeah. And that's something I make sure I ask everyone.
Yes.
Hey, do you have any belief system? Any? And when they don't, I tell them, you need to find something.
So if you're going through health issues and you're doing all the physical work, but you're not getting better, make sure you include the spiritual work too. Relationship with yourself, your belief system, telling you and believing what it is you want for your health. It really is powerful. It really is 100% healing. It allows the body to do what it's meant to do and heal you. I love it.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you all for joining us today. What a great conversation. I can't wait to come back and have some more of these talks with you, Dr. Michelle.
Yeah, it's going to get more exciting.
It sure is. We cannot wait. All right, everyone. If you liked what you heard today, definitely like, subscribe, share, comment, whatever platform you're on. We appreciate your support and we want to keep serving you. If you have any questions, please reach out. We are happy to answer anything you have. And until next time, love yourself, rock your day, own your day, believe in yourself. Lots of love. Adios.